Alright, hey guys, it's Kira and I'm back with another Pokemon Showdown video. But today it's not gonna be a battle. It's actually going to be a video about some Pokemon that I think are pretty good sets to run in competitive. And with the release of Pokebank, I think this is very fitting considering the Sinnoh starters are very popular right now. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a video about the Pokebank starters, and that's what we'll name the team. So let's go ahead and do OU, since most of my favorite Pokemon are in that category. So we'll start off with my favorite Pokemon as of right now, my man Infernape. And for this guy, let's go ahead and use a set that a friend of mine by the name of Mertuza, I guess. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. But he's actually the one who gave me the idea for this. So I'm not going to take too much credit. But we're going to give him a Choice Scarf, ability Iron Fist, moves Close Combat. I like to run Flamethrower just to give him a little bit of variety, just in case you see somebody trying to set up on you with a defensive Pokemon. You can just throw in the Flamethrower and easily hit that. So yeah, for the moves we're going to do Close Combat, Flamethrower. I like to use Mach Punch just to get that priority in case somebody thinks they're moving faster than you with that priority move. They're not. And you could also run U-Turn in place of Mach Punch. U-Turn is pretty good. Swords Dance, but not with Choice Scarf. Stealth Rock, but not with Choice Scarf. Stone Edge. But basically, I just like the priority. It's all personal preference. And then I'm in Thunder Punch just to add a little bit of coverage. And so for the stats, we'll go ahead and move down here. I like to run Hasty. Adamant is pretty good. It's whatever you really want to do. Now with Hasty, I like to do max speed because 346 base is fine, but with Choice Scarf you're definitely outspeeding pretty much anything, but without that you're not going to be outspeeding too much. So especially with Genesect, Infernape will one-shot Genesect with Flamethrower, so I definitely like to be able to outspeed that thing because it always runs Choice Scarf from what I see. Then of course here you don't have to max out his attack. I mean, I like to. You don't have to. He's really not too strong without it, so I definitely recommend it. You can do something like 200 attack and 52 special attack, but I prefer to do just like 16 special attack and 240 attack, which puts both of his attack stats at a somewhat decent range, plus the max speed. You're really going to be attacking first and hitting hard. This is the set I like to run on Infernape. This seems to work well for me. I've used it in countless battles. This set just works really well for me. And for Polian, Polian's pretty much, you know, the standard sub Pitaya set. That's the one I like to use. So we'll go ahead and do Polian. Pitaya Berry basically it increases the special attack by 1 stage when you're at 1/4 max HP or less, single use. So 1 stage, if you guys don't know, is 1.5 times multiplier on top of the stat. You can do Defiant, but I prefer Torrent. It works right along with Pitaya Berry. It does excellent. So for the moves, we're gonna do. You can do Hydro Pump. I actually prefer Scald because it has a little bit more accuracy. Actually, it has perfect accuracy plus a good power, and it has the 30% chance to burn. So that's just, to me, that's a better move than Hydro Pump. Now for I like to do Grass Knot, mainly just to get some of but you don't need Grass Knot, but I like to use it just for like some of the heavier opponents. Like, okay, Snorlax for example, it works pretty well on Snorlax. Any other heavy Pokemon as well that you might not hit as hard with Scald. I mean, I just like Grass Knot for a little bit of coverage. Of course, you could also do something like Ice Beam. Really, whatever you want to do. Now, for this set, like I said, Substitute is the general standard rinse and repeat set for here. Basically, you substitute, and then once you substitute a couple times, you get your health down, which activates the Pitaya Berry and Torrent, which allows you to hit extremely hard. So that's the way I like to do it, and so we'll do that. And you can always do Agility because he's not really fast. Agility plus the Substitute allows you to hit pretty fast and hard. I like to do Ice Beam. it's I mean, like I said, it's really whatever you want to do. Uh, Agility works well, so I mean, it's personal preference. I'm just gonna throw on I don't know. What do we want to throw on him? Something let's just do, well, you know, let's just do Ice Beam, I guess. And for the stats, I like to do about 240 HP, give or take, and then definitely defense. You're not going to want to take too many hits, but I don't really like to max out defense. I actually like to do about 240. I'm not really one for maxing out stats one way or the other. So about 240 health, 240 defense, which still leaves you enough to put on something else. Now, I like to run Modest just to get some special attack in there and then put the rest in special attack, and that usually seems to even it up pretty well. But since you have Modest, you really don't need to put too much into special attack, so you can actually take that out and do it like that, and that's a pretty even set. This is the set I like to run, because you still have some defense on them. That's just the set I prefer to run. Now for Torterra, which is going to be the third starter, I like to, of course, you want to give them, I think Leftovers works really well. There's plenty of options. And then Overgrow, which 1/3 or less max HP, grass attacks do 1.5 damage. That's really good. Shell Armor, you can't be struck by a critical hit. That's fine too. But let's go ahead and jump right into the moves. I like to do Earthquake, Leech Seed, Stealth Rock, and Wood Hammer. And that's just mainly because he's pretty tanky, so you can pretty much set up all over this thing. Now, if you can switch out Leech Seed for Synthesis, that way you don't have to just worry about setting them up, and Synthesis can automatically heal you. Synthesis is a much better choice in a Sun team, but Leech Seed, I think, is pretty good overall. And of course, if you don't want Stealth Rock, you might have another Stealth Rock user. You can always switch that out for Synthesis as well. So it's really whatever you want to do. Now for the stats, I think you should do. I like to do max HP. I like to do max HP, maybe Adamant, something to make them hit pretty hard. It's whatever you want to do, really. You could do max HP, max attack, make them a pretty heavy tank. You could do max HP and max defense with the Adamant nature, which gives you a pretty nice bulk plus some attack on top of that. But since I don't like to do max in one thing or the other, I like to just even it out a little bit. So you can do whatever you want here. I like to do that set. That set works just fine for me with the Adamant, which gives you an attack boost plus the max HP, max defense. He's pretty bulky. Just bulky enough to get you probably a Leech Seed up, then Synthesis if they hit you, Earthquake for the fire coverage, and then Wood Hammer for the stab. It's pretty nice. I like this set. And yeah, I think those are pretty good sets to run on the starters. And I guess we'll go ahead and throw some more Pokemon in here. I'll just add in some Gen 6 Pokemon, since that's what generation we're on now, just even it up a little bit. So a Gen 6 Pokemon that I really like is Avalugg, and what I like to run on him is Sturdy. Of course, you don't want to get taken out before you can do anything. Leftovers is one of my favorites to use. Of course, you want Rapid Spin. That's pretty much his job. I like to use Recover, since he's pretty bulky. I mean, when they hit you and knock your health down, you just recover it back. So I like Recover. Avalanche for that hit. You definitely want to be able to hit something. And he's got a really nice attack, so that's definitely an option. And so we have Rapid Spin, Recover, Avalanche. Now the last one I like kind of a setup move. That way you can almost force a switch out, since they know they're not going to be able to hurt you too much. So you can do Curse or Iron Defense. Curse raises your attack as well, so I prefer Curse a little bit over Iron Defense, though Iron Defense does make you extremely bulky. So that's just personal preference. This is just a set I like to use. And for the stats, of course, we'll go down here. I like to run Impish with the max HP about 240, 200 and something like that. I like to do about 56 attack, and then whatever's left into the defense, because at 499 plus the Curse, which is 1.5 multiplier on top of that, you're getting at least 600 defense. so you'll be fine on defense. HP will definitely keep you alive, and then you're getting a 284 attack, so you're definitely going to be hitting hard and tanking hits. Definitely a good rapid spinner. I'd say it's just as good as Fortress, if not better. The only thing I'd say Fortress has over this is the fact that Fortress can also set up. So I mean, it's like I said, preference between the two. I like this one. And let's go ahead and throw some other Pokemon. I think a really overlooked Pokemon in Generation 6 is Furfrou. He's one of the Pokemon you catch right off the bat, which is one of the reasons he's probably so overlooked. And again, I like to do leftovers. Leftovers for pretty much any tank. That's my one and true love. So yeah, for the moves, I like to do Cotton Guard, which basically boosts your defense by 3 stages. That's 2.5 multiplier, so it's doubled and then halved. Well, it's doubled and then has half added to it, so I like that. I like to do Thunder Wave, so you can get a little bit of support, so you can throw this guy in, tank a hit, and then paralyze the opponent. Now you can do Return, or you can do another setup or another status move, whatever you want to do. I like to do Return just to knock away like Focus Sash and that kind of thing. So I like to do Return. And then for the last move, this is just my personal preference. I like Charm. If someone tries to basically set up on you, or you see someone setting up, you can throw Furfrou in, throw a Charm at them. That's going to stop them from setting up. Usually force either a switch out or another setup, which gives you a free turn to switch in, possibly outspeed and hit them. I just think it's really nice that way. Now for the ability, or not ability, nature, you can do Jolly to make them fast. Like for example, if you want to do Jolly plus max speed and do a Thunder Wave plus a Cotton Guard and all that, you can do that. Or you can do Impish plus max defense, max HP. Then you're going to be able to get some setup on them. You could do like 200 or so defense, and then like 56 special defense, and that's going to work well considering the Cotton Guard. I say way too much. I'm sorry, guys. I did it again. Okay, well, anyways, you can use Cotton Guard, and that's going to add a 2.5 multiplier, so you really don't need to focus too much on defense, because 226 doubled and then halved as well is 226 times 2 is whatever that is, plus another half of 226. So you're definitely getting really good defense, which adds in a little bit of special defense coverage and HP. So this is just what I like to use on Furfrou. Like I said, it's all personal preference. This is just my preference. You could even switch Impish for Sassy. That adds a little bit more special defense, but it does take away from your defense, and I mean, it's whatever you want to do. And so for the final Gen 6 Pokemon, I kinda am partial to, let me find him. I really like Clawitzer, I really like Diggersby, I really like Go-Goat, and I really like Goodra. Goodra is probably my favorite out of the 3. On Goodra, this thing is just incredible special defense. So I like to run Assault Vest, which it multiplies your special defense by 1.5. I like to use Gooey on the set that I'm about to show you. It lowers the attacker's speed, so if they make contact, you're going to be able to live it more than likely, and it's going to lower their speed. You could also use Hydration for a rain team. That way you can use a rest set and get your health back every turn if rain's up. You know. So, but for Goodra, I like to basically run a coverage Goodra with high special defense, since the Assault Vest doesn't allow, it only allows damaging moves. So for the moves, I like to use Flamethrower to get rid of those pesky ice types. I like to use Ice Beam to maybe hit some dragons in case you don't want to go for the Draco Meteor and take the -2 special attack. Ice Beam works well against dragons without having to force the Draco Meteor. Or you could just sacrifice Draco Meteor and use Dragon Pulse, and then maybe switch a move out for Ice Beam. It's whatever you want to do. I just like to use Draco Meteor and Ice Beam. That way, if I really need to use Draco Meteor, I have the option to. And then if I don't want to use Draco Meteor, I can use Ice Beam as a replacement. So that's the move I like to use. And then for the final coverage, I like to use Thunderbolt, mainly because I find that Thunderbolt is just a much needed move. It definitely is good to be able to switch into a lot of things that are weak to Thunderbolt and just be able to hit them right off the bat. And especially Scald users, Thunderbolt is great on. Fairy types like Togekiss that are also flying, Thunderbolt can do well against those. And meanwhile, you'll be able to tank the hit from the special defense. So with its stats, I like to do max HP or 240. Really, it's whatever. I mean, HP is HP. And then you can run Sassy, which makes its special defense off the charts. As you can see, 438 plus the Assault Vest. That thing is just incredibly specially defensive. So what I actually like to do, since you're already so specially defensive, I like to put a modest nature on. And that actually upgrades your special attack while not really taking too much away from your special defense. So if you do 240 in both HP and in special defense, you still have a pretty good balance. Or you could even drop it to something like 200 special defense and do 68, or I mean 56, sorry. You do 56 special attack with 200 special defense and 252 HP, and that works pretty well because 386 plus half of whatever that is like, what, 157, something like that. I don't feel like doing the math. I'm sure you guys can figure it out. But yeah, it's really high special defense. He's going to be taking hits pretty well. You can also add in some defense. You can take off the special tag and add in some defense just for some extra coverage. I just like to do it this way specifically. That way you can tank the hits from special attackers and then hit back almost just as hard. And this set just seems to work well. It seems to have the most amount of coverage. And so yeah, these are the Pokemon from Gen 6 that I like to use. Mainly because there's so many special attackers and sweepers already that sometimes you just really need some walls. Avalugg is an incredible defensive wall, Furfrou is an incredible defensive wall plus support, and Goodra is just an incredible bulky attacker. And he can do the role of a sweeper as well. It just all depends on how you want to run them. And then of course for the Gen 6 or the Gen whatever it is 4, these are just my favorite group of starters. I do like the original starters. I like some of the other starters like Chikorita, Cyndaquil, and those. But for some reason, Infernape just always was my favorite starter. And Polian's pretty cool too, and Torterra's not bad. But I figured since Pokebank was out, and these are a lot of people's favorite starters, that I figured this would just be a good video to make. So, like I said, these are not the definitive sets. These are not what you have to do. These are not just the standard sets. These are just what I like to use. These are sets that I think work well on these Pokemon. And if you want to try them out, by all means, they're pretty good. This Infernape is great. I've played many battles with this Infernape where he has been the sole savior of the team. This Polian, he's pretty good as well. I wouldn't put too much emphasis on him doing much by himself. He's more of a support character. And Torterra, he's really good if you can throw him into a situation where he'll actually be able to do something. You can even switch out Woodhammer for something, but we've already done that, so we'll worry about that at another time. And then of course Avalugg, Furfrou, and Goodra, the Gen 6 Pokemon that I really like. But yeah, these are just the Pokemon that I think, these 3 Pokemon, the starters, this is a good set for the starters, and these 3 Pokemon are the ones I like from Gen 6. So maybe you guys want to try these, maybe not, but these are just the ones I like. These are the way I like to run them. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.